Hi guys. We are going to be spending another week on our animal shading. And the reason we're doing that is because I've been seeing some people that aren't actually trying, and they're not really spending time on the drawing or the shading. So I'm going to go over some more reminders, and hopefully this will simplify some of it a little bit, make it a little bit easier for some of you for the shading. So the first step here is that you are drawing nicely by looking at a picture. So you must have a real picture of a real animal. So on the screen you can see the panda picture that I found. I'm going to do a nice kind of outline for it, getting the eyes, nose, and mouth, and anything else that I can kind of fit in there, so long as I am staying big. So you need to be drawing this big. If you look over here at my puppy drawing, I kept it big. You can't see the lower half of his body. You can't see his legs, or at least his back legs. You can only see like the head, the face, the ears, and some of his like front paws. If you found a picture that just focuses on the face, that is fine too. But it does need to be drawn big. So if you are still drawing small, don't be surprised when you get a bad grade on this, because you are not following the rules. And I'm always saying draw big. So especially with this one, it is very important. You cannot shade nicely in something that you drew very small, just like you can't color nicely in something that you draw small. So you have to draw this big or you will end up with a bad grade. So please make sure that you are following that rule. The second part I want to really talk about here is a lot of the drawing part, the first part of this project. I've been getting some not so great outlines. So I'm going to move this now, and I'm going to move on to this silly, quick little drawing that I did for you. So I can tell that this didn't take that long. I mean, I did it, but if this was a student, it shows me that, you just did really quick shapes, really easy, simple, just circle, just a curved line, ovals for the arms and ovals kind of for the legs as well, and then not much better than, your regular smiley face. And you should know that this is not acceptable. So this is not at all enough for the first part of our drawing. So if your drawing looked like this when you submitted the first week, and this is one of the big reasons we're spending 3 weeks on this now, then you need to start all the way over. And I tried saying that in our last video, but I'm still getting some people submitting things like this and thinking they're done. This is not good enough. It cannot be small. It cannot be something like this. You have to have paid attention to your picture, like even just the shapes that you see. So this isn't just a small circle. This is a very like pulled out oval, and then the eye here is closed, but there is like a black dark line showing where his eyelid is shut. The nose, this is not just a circle. I would say this is kind of a triangle. So you need to be paying attention to your picture, which is why I told you to make sure that you have one. So if you still are trying to draw an animal from your imagination, you are not following the directions. So you need to do this the way that I've told you. So I'm going to flip this over onto the other side. And when I'm talking about simple shapes, like this isn't a bad way to start it to help you, but it is not what I should see when you submit it to me. Like this was not nearly enough. This maybe took 2 minutes, and your art class, you should be spending at least like 45 to 50 minutes on each art day, because that's how long we would be spending here at school, and that's how long the students who are here at school are spending. So if you aren't spending 45 to 50 minutes on your art each art day, then that's another reason you're not doing very well, and that you're doing things like this. So that's, you need to be spending more time. So when I look at this for a panda, I really do see kind of a nice, almost perfect circle for his head. But since he has his mouth open, there is kind of like, I would put just a rectangle kind of shape or a square.
Good afternoon, Altonites.
So I have like a rectangle or square shape here for showing like this kind of square shape of the mouth opening. You could even put kind of an oval here for the snout. So you have this kind of shape. It's a weird shape, but these simple shapes are supposed to help you build up those weird shapes you see when you are looking at an animal. It's supposed to make it a little bit easier. So we can put a curved line here for that ear. It does come in a little, kind of like a V, and then the same over here, kind of a V with that curved line for the ear. Then down on the body, we don't see a lot of it. So we'll just try and draw this kind of big, and then these are the tops of his legs where that black hair is going to be. And there's going to be some black hair here. And then his arm is kind of a rectangle with another rectangle on top. I think his arm is covering up his ear a little here, so we won't see some of that ear. And again, this is just like making little bookmarks for you to kind of tell you like, okay, hey, this is where this part of the body is going to go, and making sure that you have enough room on your paper. So this is a very important step to do to make sure that it is big enough, because a lot of you have been skipping this step. I mean, if you should probably be doing it. It is very important. I mean, if you're still drawing big, that's what matters. But so now that I have kind of the shapes, oh, we forgot the eyes. I would say kind of an oval here for like a space holder, and then kind of that big triangle for the nose. So there's a line that comes out of the bottom of the nose. Do you see this line right here? That is on most animals. So a little bit of a line there, and then it comes up to go around kind of like a curvy smiley face, and it goes around the top of that oval that we have. Then here is going to be the mouth. So I have one kind of rectangular square shape here, and then this would be like his lip. So you've got this kind of rectangle, this darker rectangle for his lips, and then the bottom of the chin. So there's going to be like 1, 2, 3 rectangles basically there. Then now it's starting to get a bit messy, so now we can really start to clean it up. So I can erase some of those lines that I really don't need anymore. And another part that I've seen people skipping is this outline. So in your first submission, the first picture you were supposed to send me, you were supposed to work on getting the big shapes, getting the eyes, nose, and mouth, and then the outline needs to not be smooth. So if you can look at this, let me zoom in some. This line here is smooth, and that is going to make it look cartoonish. So when you look back at this one, it looks very cartoony, not only because the eyes and the nose and the mouth, but this line makes it very cartoony. So we have to make that line, that outline, look fuzzy, because that is what our animal is. Look here. This is all very zigzaggy. So if you can't do the curvy zigzags that I've shown you guys, then just do small zigzags. But make sure you're not doing this. This is just rushing, so don't rush it. So take your time to do small zigzags or small triangles to make it look more fuzzy. If you're doing big triangles, that is not going to work. It's not going to look good. So small triangles. We aren't going to be tracing this in black marker. So you can do small triangles and like a ton of them just to make sure that it does look good. So don't worry about doing a ton this time. So all of this outline needs to be kind of fuzzy looking. Taking your time to make it fuzzy looking. Especially around the snout. It's very fuzzy. So I'm not going to finish this whole drawing, but I know a lot of people drew pandas, so I wanted to do a quick little sketch to show those people if they still needed help, but also because there's another thing that I've seen people really struggling with. And what that is if their animal is black or has some black hair, they think that you just color it all in with your pencil and you're done. No. So if you look at this hair, like over here, you can hopefully tell it's really dark in this area, kind of in the behind his head right here and the hair. But then here, it's getting up to be a lighter gray. So one of the things I told you about was you could save this and put that filter on so it would just be in black and white. That will help you. Or just understand that this isn't going to be solid black. Even on this paw here, it gets very light. It's not that his skin has changed colors or his fur has changed colors. It's that the light is hitting there and making it a bit brighter, a bit lighter. So this wouldn't all be black. Yes, his fur here is black, but since the light hits it there, it gets a little brighter, a little bit lighter. So when you're shading in, say, the eyes, around the outer part down here, and on the top of the eye in here, and the line for the eye, the eyelid, that would be very, very dark. But then the rest of this isn't going to be as dark. This area will be darker than the white, but it won't be a solid black. So what I would do when I start shading, so if I've gotten, let me clean this up a little, make this kind of a fuzzier outline like we've been talking about, getting that fuzzy outline. And then all I'm going to do first is lightly shade in. It's going to get darker, but I'm going to lightly shade in that ovally kind of shape, blend to make it a little bit softer and nicer looking. If you go outside the lines a little, that's fine. Just erase those parts. And now we have it shaded in. Now I can go in with my darker areas, like this kind of curving line showing the eyelid, and then paying attention again to the rest of it. So up here on top of the eye, it gets a little bit darker. So I'm going to put in a little more of the lead, just going right over the top of it with another layer. Blending it, and then you should be able to tell, like in the picture and in my drawing now, that it is a little bit darker above the eye. If this part gets too dark, you can darken up this line. So I'm going to go over that line a little so you can really see it. And then it's a little bit lighter down here, and then gets a little darker at the bottom. So this is shading, putting that value in there. So this gray is a value. All of these are values. The white is a value, the black, the gray, whether it's a light gray, a dark gray, or a middle gray, those are all your values. But it's not, when you're shading, it's not just black and white. So please keep in mind that you are going to be coloring in almost everything with your pencil. So you would be coloring in this whole eye here nicely. You would be coloring even on the white parts of his hair. There's going to be darker areas. So up here could stay bright white of the paper, but down here there's going to be a light gray. So you will have to go in there with your pencil showing that there is that soft gray down there. Now, if it gets too dark and you don't like that you got too dark, so if I press too hard, then just blend it out and then go in with your eraser, lighten it up some and blend again. That'll lighten that value some so it's not quite that dark, because it is still white here, but it's not the white of the paper, because there is that bit of shadow. So I hope that clears up some of the things that people have been struggling with. Make sure you are taking your time. You are getting another week on this, so this would have taken 3 weeks now for this drawing. So I hope you understand that means I want this to look really good. So if you aren't spending a few hours on this, or at least like 2.5 hours all said and done, because we had 50 minutes the first day, 50 minutes the next day, and then another 50. So that's what, 150 minutes, which is almost, well, yeah, it's a little over 2 hours. So make sure that you are spending that time. If you aren't spending time on this, you're going to be giving me stuff like this, and you will get a failing grade if you are submitting stuff like this. So I hope that clears things up a little. Make sure you send me a picture, or you can send me an updated picture for this assignment, and hopefully everybody will be getting nice grades. If you did start over and you send me this finished picture now, then I'll go back and update your old grade, so long as I can tell that you know, even if you submitted this to me 2 weeks ago, if you submit something, it doesn't have to be like this, but closer to this, showing that you did spend your time, things like this, then that will get you a much better grade. So please take your time on this, guys, and hopefully you're having fun. Make sure that you did save your picture so you can keep looking at it, and I hope I'll get to see some much more beautiful art from you. So take your time, do your best, and I'll see you next time.